Hi, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if you've not been before. Facebook Bandit. Done a lot of work to this. Go back and watch some previous episodes. Thank you to everybody that's given me all your comments, all your helpful information around these bikes and things to do on it. Point taken about the levers. I am going to get some new levers. I don't know what original ones look like. Has anybody got a set of originals? Have you got any recommendations on what I should replace these with? I have a funny feeling these are what can I say, Chinese Amazon doos. I mean, I don't mind them myself, but they're probably not the best. So recommendations please. Last episode finally got this exhaust on, but I didn't have the right bolts for here and under here. That's what we've got in here today. It's all been delivered. I've got some stuff on the way as well. I've got a new throttle tube ready to go. I've got some grips coming so that this can be sorted. I've been given a set of handlebars, some rental ones, so if they fit I'll use those, but if not, I've been offered some free OEM ones, which to be honest with you are probably going to be better, so we'll see how we go with that. I've also got one of these. That is a spacer for the front wheel because the one on there is bent over like that. I'll show you it, and I'm going to replace that today as well. Right, I'm going to get on, I'm going to get this exhaust sorted and then move on to the front wheel. So if you saw the last episode, the struggle I had to get this on, I need to undo that now so that this bolt under here has got a bit of space to move. I'm going to try and find it there, so I can align that up with the exhaust, get that on. That one's already loose and got play on it, so that's what I'll do first. Get that one loose and try and get that little bolt in at the bottom underneath. So this is what we're looking like from underneath, and this is where I've got to get this bolt. So I need to get this aligned a bit better. It looks like it needs to go that way, but what I need to do is just get all this a bit free and loose again, and just properly twist it and line it up as well. This is going to be a mess around. I'll see what I can do. I mean, I literally can't really see. My head ain't having any of it. So it looks like I need to shove it that way, this, to go that way, because that's fixed in. But what I definitely need to do is to make sure I've got all the rubbers still in place, is to make sure the bolt actually fits that nut that's already sort of welded in there. Should be, it's an OEM bolt, I have ordered it. I'm going to have to take exhaust off, see if that fits. So I've got that exhaust on. It's probably taken me, I don't know, half an hour longer than it probably should have done. I'll tell you the problems that I encountered. First of all, you need to be able to line this up because there's not a lot of play on it, and in order to do that you need to get that inside this collector box, which I've learned it's been called, thank you, which I couldn't get the graphite gasket back in because it's really tight and small. So I had to splay it open again, line up the bolt underneath, put that in, make sure all this was in place, and then go up here, and then I still had to just move and jiggle this a little bit so that it fitted accurately. And then because I'd splayed that open again, I've had to sort of tighten it here, and tighten it where it is more than 3 times in order to be able to move it up and get this gasket and this clamp in the right place. So that is my original exhaust on. I got this exhaust for free, and I would like to say to that person, thank you so much. I know these things aren't cheap, but it means the world to me that I've been able to get an original exhaust for this bike. I'm really looking for some of these as well, but I can't thank you enough. Thank you very much. Hopefully this will help improve running of the bike. It was designed to have this exhaust on it. I'm looking forward to getting out on it, but I've got that front wheel to do next. To remove the front wheel, the first thing I need to do is undo these two bolts that are fixing in the axle bolt, which is this one here. I need to undo two bolts on the calipers to get that free. I need to jack the bike up before I take the wheel out completely. I've had this wheel out before a couple of times now, so I'm quite confident on removing the wheel, getting those nuts undone, and thinking about what I'm going to be doing next, making sure that I'm not going to be losing any nuts. Putting the jack in, this is a bit tricky when you're doing it on your own. I get the two spikes lined up on the inside of there. I sort of semi-stand the bike, and then just got to jam it in the right place, and down there it goes. Just checking that the bike's stable. Once the bike's up there, take the rest of that caliper off. Hopefully once this axle comes out, I'll be able to get at the spacer that I'm trying to replace, and just wait until you see the spacer that's in there. This is the new spacer I'm putting in. It's a couple of quid off eBay, and I don't know what's happened to this, but this is shocking. Look at that. Any ideas, anybody? What has somebody done to do that? Has anyone else had this happen on their Bandit, or even seen that on any bike and thought, yeah, alright. Alright, so let's get this new one in. Once I'd taken out that old spacer, I started to put the bike back together again. I couldn't for the life of me get that axle lined up correctly. I spent way too much time on this, more than what I should have done. This recording, in fact, was 37 minutes long, but I've had to edit it so that it looks decent to watch. Otherwise, you'll just be pulling your hair out at me. As I'm going, I just can't seem to figure out why it's not working. I'm taking my time, I'm being patient with it, I'm not rushing, but I am starting to get more and more heavy-handed. And then, just when I'm starting to get sort of more heavy-handed with that bike, disaster strikes. Oh, shit. This is a problem. This was disaster. I was on my own and I had to try and get it back on that stand. I was even thinking about laying the bike down, but luckily I did manage to get it back on that stand. Now this was my own fault. I started getting a bit rough and a bit heavy-handed, and yeah, it's on there now. And then at this point I just stopped for a few minutes to take stock. Once I was fairly confident that that bike was secure on that stand. Once I'd got the bike on there, I found it incredibly frustrating trying to get that axle bolt in. I've done this only a couple of times before, and I don't remember it being this difficult. I ended up taking off the caliper at the other side. I also took the wheel out completely to inspect it to find out what was going on, which is what I should have done to start with. It turns out there's a lip on the bolt of the axle. That bolt that goes through, it's got a lip, and that was catching, and it wasn't even going through to the other side. But once I'd figured that out, it was on. I'd done it within a couple of minutes because I knew what the problem was. If only I'd stopped, taken the wheel out completely to find out what was blocking it and why I couldn't line it up. It wasn't that I wasn't lining it up. It's that it wasn't going right through because of the lip on the bolt. Once I'd done that, wheel on, both calipers on, and done. Yes. All right, I've done that. That turned into a mission. It took me 45 minutes. I've had the front wheel out before to get a new tyre on. I took it to go get a new tyre. Saved me 10, 20 quid at taking wheel out at bike, but I'd forgotten I needed to take the calipers off in order to drop the wheel out and get it back in correctly and align that bolt through. Bit of a hairy moment there, thought the bike was going to go down. A bit of a recap, just so I've got things in my head. Exhaust, front spacer. Next thing, we've got a new throttle tube, and I'm going to line it up with this so you can just see how much has been cut down. Now I'm hoping you can see that white inside there. That is this piece here. That bit goes inside there. So if I line this up roughly, you can just see how much he's cut down because he's drilled this hole in the wrong spot. That's even if he's drilled it. I can't remember if he has or he hasn't. I mean, it's got a bit of play in it, but it seems to lock, and we've got a screw there. I don't know if that's a screw he's just drilled in or what. But this is my next thing then. Changing the bars to a different set. I'm going to have to take all this headgear off, put it back on, and then new bars on. Not been delivered yet, but we'll get to that as soon as it's here a bit later on today. So I've got that front wheel back on. I've got that spacer in. Thankfully, it's the proper shape. I didn't want that thing in there, what I showed you. How that's happened, I don't know. Got the exhaust. I've not started the bike yet. Might take a bit starting because I've not started it for about a week. Got a box down there. I've got some deliveries in. So we're going to be able to have a look at swapping these bars over. Finally getting a throttle tube on there that works. Well, I mean, that does work. But they can cut down, and I've got some new grips as well. So we'll try and start the bike and see if that has quietened it down a little bit. I'll tell you what. Sometimes I'm just a right clown. Right, let's have another go. It might take a bit of starting because it's cold. I've got some new spark plugs on the way. I've not changed them since I've had this bike, which they may not need changing, but I want to change them because then I know they've done. People have been on about the oil for the gear changing. I've changed it and I've got a new filter on there, but I'm also, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that again and get another new filter on, and hopefully that'll maybe settle it down because it is looking a bit dark in the oil reservoir. I did turn back the worm screw. You didn't see it on camera, but I did do that. So hopefully we'll get a bit of choke on. Hopefully this bike will start. I keep the seat in the house because thieves are lazy. That's brilliant. That is so much quieter. You can hear the choke is about half on. Now when I take my bars left with these bars on, with the choke on, it tends to rev. Let's see if it does it. This will be all bike, no me. I've turned it down a little bit, turn it left. See what I mean? And I've rerouted that. I think it's to do with these bars. I think they're too high. Someone suggested they could be too wide. I've got an option for some original bars, but I've got a pair of rentals to put on for now. Right, let's just make a start, really. So this is my dash. I've got my action cam there, which is fixed to this, which is an Aoocci front and back camera. Look at that. That's my front, that's out my back. It's got a bit of a fisheye lens on it as well, which is absolutely brilliant. If I go to home, I can connect it to my phone as well. And I can also replay. I've got front and back tyre pressures. I can go into settings and I can alter things and set it up to my phone, etc. I've got my Bluetooth off because it does automatically connect. But if you want to grab one of these, follow the link in the description. Tyre pressure monitor, connects to your phone, so you can have wireless. If you've got this hooked up with one of them car door things, brilliant. So for me, I've got to get all this switch gear off, undo this. I've got to take that off. I've got to take all this lot off here and put the new bars on. I need to swap that over as well. So hopefully that'll be easy to do the throttle tube. So the rental bars are the same as what's on here. They're just too big. I think they're too wide and I think they're too tall. So the guy who's offered to give me a pair, I'm going to get in touch with him and I'll ask him to post them out to me. I can't thank you enough for that offer. That's absolutely amazing. Just have a quick turn around of the bike. So I'm going to give you a bit of a walk around at the moment. The things I need to be thinking about at the moment is going to change spark plugs. We're going to do a new oil and filter change. Exhaust's alright. Brakes are okay, I'm not having any problems with those, but what I might do is, because I like the look of these hell ones that I've put on, I might just get a brake system for the rear. I can't remember where it is. Must be other side, is it? It's here, look. It's only a short bit of cable in there. And reservoir is attached in there, which doesn't look to be brilliant. I think that needs to be sorted out. So I might get some hell stuff for there. That'll be next month. I'm going to get these sorted. Bike's running, so I might nip down and see this fella on Monday to see if he can do that for me this week, if possible. Because I don't expect him bike to be up and running just yet. So my main point is I've got some grip glue. I've got some Renthal grips which will fit this throttle. I need to get rid of these bars, put the original ones back on. Hopefully it'll fix that choke issue, because it might be too wide and I think they're a bit tall as well. And I think we're okay at that, aren't we? There are little bits I do want to do, like these headlamps here, rough as hell like. So I could do with changing them really. And I prefer the two headlights to the one headlight as well, actually. It looks a bit sort of bug-eyed to me, but I like it. And I don't like it with headlamps. I want to get rid of this, get a new one of those. Because this one's just knackered. It's got a bloody bolt missing out of it here. Got a stupid sticker on Strawberry Fields, York. I don't know if that still places in existence or not, but I won't be going to it. So yeah, I've got the bars to sort out. So I'm going to leave this episode here at this point. It was a right mission doing that front wheel, honestly. Exhaust was more difficult than I thought it was, but I've done it. I thought it'd have been straightforward. People who have done this all their lives will be like, bloody, it's only a front wheel, what's up with it? It's not rocket science. It is, man, honestly. And you saw the bother I had with bike, bloody hell. Anyway, that's done. Exhaust's done. Bike does need a clean, no doubt about that. Yeah, I'll wrap up for now and leave it at that. And I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you have, please like, share and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.